Let us discuss here some of the respiratory disorders which are faced by us in your day-to-day encounters. Respiratory disorders. The most common respiratory disorder nowadays, because of pollution and various other respiratory ailments, is asthma. Asthma is an airway disease. Means the trachea, then primary bronchi, then secondary bronchi, and then tertiary bronchi, and then bronchioles. This respiratory tree, it loses its flexibility. As a result of this, air which comes inside, it is trapped in the lungs. So the demand for oxygen is never fulfilled for metabolic activities, and a person feel himself deprived of oxygen, which leads to fast respiratory rate. It is precipitated in the season of winter because of allergies, or the main cause of asthma nowadays are pollutants which are mixed in the air. The second disease is emphysema, which affects lungs. Emphysema occurs due to basically infections as well as smoking. It occurs due to obstruction of bronchioles. Obstruction of bronchioles caused by the breaking of alveolar septa. They are broken down. For treatment of emphysema, bronchodilators and oxygen therapy is used to cure this disease. The respiratory capacity of the person is highly declined in asthma. Next respiratory disorder is pneumonia, which affects lungs. It may be bacterial or viral. Pneumonia may be of two types. One is community acquired pneumonia. One is hospital acquired pneumonia. It leads to fever, cough, and breathlessness. It is most common among children and in older people where immunity is declined. Another respiratory disorder we want to discuss in brief, that is bronchitis. Bronchitis is inflammation of bronchioles. Inflammation of bronchioles is called as bronchitis. It involves swelling in the bronchioles. It leads to cough and fever. Another infectious disease which affects almost all the categories of the society, it is tuberculosis. Shortly, it is written as TB, caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Tuberculosis may affect lungs also, which causes thick sputum. In scientific term, it is known as sputum with pus, known as purulent sputum, and loss of appetite, weight loss, fever, and all. If not cured in time, it may lead to death of the individual. The next disease which affects the lungs sometimes is pleurisy. When we see the structure of lungs, this is trachea, bronchi, and these are the two lungs. The lung is surrounded by a thin membrane known as pleural membrane. In between the pleural membrane and the lung membrane is pleural fluid. This fluid provides a type of lubrication for frictionless movement of the lungs during respiration. Sometimes due to inflammation, this fluid accumulates in the pleural cavity. More than the normal amount. Accumulation of pleural cavity, of pleural fluid in the pleural cavity is known as pleurisy. The term which is related to respiratory disorder, one another term is high cough. It is an involuntary action on which we do not have any sort of control. It is caused due to sudden contraction of diaphragm along with the loud closure of glottis. Which gives this abnormal sound called high cough. Sneezing. It is also involuntary phenomenon caused maybe by allergies or maybe due to viral or bacterial infection of lungs. So here we have discussed all the major diseases related to the respiratory tract. Let us once again move to the type of respiration. Types of respiration. Based on the need of oxygen, it is of two types. One is anaerobic respiration, means does not require oxygen. One is aerobic respiration, means the respiration which requires oxygen. Commonly, it is known as fermentation, which occurs mainly in plants and in microbes. There, it is a regular mode of respiration, but aerobic respiration mainly takes place in animals and in higher plants. Let us discuss fermentation. It is, as I told, it is an anaerobic process, means it does not require oxygen. For commercial use, this process is used for synthesis of alcohol and other beverages of alcohol like beer. The microorganism used for this process is usually yeast. The process was studied in detail by Louis Pasteur, the great microbiologist of his time. What happens that during the process of respiration or oxidation of food, say for example, carbohydrate is metabolized. So under anaerobic condition, carbohydrate mean it is glucose. It is metabolized into pyruvic acid under anaerobic conditions. Pyruvic acid may be transferred in the two ways. One is in the absence of oxygen, another is in the presence of oxygen. Under anaerobic condition or in absence of oxygen, it is converted into alcohol, means C2H5OH, as well as carbon dioxide is liberated with some amount of water is also formed, and in the presence of oxygen, it undergoes a further degradation in mitochondria in the form of Krebs cycle and produces carbon dioxide with water and 38 ATP of energy, whereas only 2 ATP adenosine triphosphate is synthesized under anaerobic condition from glucose. If we differentiate between aerobic and anaerobic respiration, we can make a beautiful chart over there. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration, both these processes, there is a lot of difference. As I told you, it occurs in all living cells of higher plants. Anaerobic respiration may occur in bacteria, in fungus, in germinating seeds and fleshy foods, as well as in muscles. Aerobic respiration requires oxygen, it does not require oxygen. Aerobic respiration, the end products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide and water, whereas the end products of anaerobic respiration, they are alcohol and carbon dioxide. In case of man or in animals, in muscles, lactic acid is formed, which is again converted into glucose, which can be further utilized for gaining energy. In case of aerobic respiration, the oxidation of one molecule of glucose, it produces 38 ATP molecules. It means it is high energy yielding process. Whereas anaerobic respiration gives us only 2 ATP, which is a poor condition, but it is still required sometimes by animals also. In case of aerobic respiration, all the reactions except the reactions of glycolysis, which takes place inside the mitochondria. But in case of anaerobic respiration, all the reactions takes place in the cytoplasm. Organic compounds, which are commonly oxidized and high amount of energy is released, whereas in anaerobic respiration, organic compounds are incompletely oxidized. This should be remembered. In anaerobic oxidation, the compounds are incompletely oxidized, whereas in aerobic respiration, they are completely oxidized. The aerobic process is a non-toxic process for higher plants, whereas anaerobic process is a toxic reaction which takes place in higher organisms. These are the major differences between aerobic and anaerobic reactions.